Screw it. My name's Aaron Ciotti. Everybody calls me Ciotti. Welcome, friends. Okay. Enough. What's up, people? It's Sunday, something or other. Q&A Sunday. Is today Sunday? Today's Sunday. We're gonna finish up the glide, and we're gonna do the Betaflight setup on the non-RunCam hybrid RipSqueak V2, and that's probably all we'll get through here today. And of course, it is a Q&A stream, so if you got them questions, leave them in the chat. You can do a super chat if you want to support the madness that is being a full-time FPV pilot, or you can just type CiottiFPV into the chat and it'll light up an orange, and that's how I'll know that you're talking to me. If you don't type CiottiFPV, I'll assume that you're talking to each other. Which is a fun thing to do. The folks that hang out in the chat are amazing, and you want to be friends with them. They're the best people that I know. So do it. If you want to support me beyond Super Chats, or just in a different way than Super Chats, if you head on over to CiottiFPV.com, there's a million other ways you can do so. Patreon helps me out the most. It's going to cost you $3 whole to join, and the benefits that you're going to get from it are well worth it. Technical articles, audio versions of these live streams, access to the Discord server. If you go on the $5 a month and up tiers, you're going to even get entered into giveaways. Every other week I do 3 Patreon-specific giveaways. So join the Patreon, help me keep going, and I'll keep answering your questions, making good content, all that fun stuff. There's also a Fiverr page over there, or you can just message me if you're interested in anything that you see over on the Fiverr page. I want to help you fly better, I want to help you build better, I want to help you tune better. I'm doing one-on-one instruction with all of those things. I've been at this for coming up on 5 years. If you haven't, I can help you. I can basically just dump 5 years worth of knowledge on you that would take you a lot longer to get. So save yourself some time and effort, and let's hook up and do a one-on-one session. There's also an Etsy page with some cool stickers and some hardware. There's a Teespring store with some really fun t-shirts. This is today's shirt from BlipShift. Giving you a second to be able to read it. And then there's a whole bunch of affiliate links. If you ever find yourself doing an order for anything on Amazon or Oh My God's website or FPV Crate or Get FPV, and there's a couple more. If you hit my affiliate links, or if you change your bookmark to my affiliate link, every time you hit that bookmark, my info will go into your shopping cart, and I'll get a small percentage of that order that you do. It's free money. No reason not to do it. In the chat, Apache Smoke Wounded Sniper was first. Riot 9 was next. Expander, JT Custom Knives, Smooth and Groovin'. Hey, Smooth, I haven't seen you in a while. Windjumby FPV. Rob Axelson, Kaiser Soze, EBR FPV, JR FPV, IDV. That's a new name I haven't seen before. Welcome. Tweet FPV is here. What's going on, Dan? How are you, man? Expander is in the house. Demenis, Mr. Bill, Arazi B Productions. A whole bunch of people that I haven't seen in a while. Where the fuck have you all been? Demenis, Frank Nicholas, Quadzi Mo, Kaiser Soze, Free Range Chicken. Dude, it's like a fucking high school reunion up in this bitch. Remy Tim is in the house. Quadzimoto again. Mr. Huggy. Robert Garcelone. Ricardo Ferrari. Fucking, why can't I say Ricardo's last name? Riot 9. JRFPV. Pedro Tomei. The Menace again. Up South FPV. T-Bird's in the house. Rob Axelson. Martin Wynn. EBR. Your Majesty. Demenis. YouTube just did the thing. I'm going to end it there. The folks that have tagged me so far, Smooth and Groovin' said, what's going on? Rob Axelson said, those camera mounts work. I haven't tried them yet, Rob. The rig that those camera mounts are for needs a new ESC. The right rear channel on the ESC is really weak. It's flyable, but it's not really fun to fly like that. So I haven't tried those mounts out yet, but they're right here. They're right next to where I sit, so I don't forget about them. I'm sure that they'll work though. Those adjustments that we made were pretty light, so I'm sure they'll be good. JRFPV says, "What's up, family and fellow FPV slaves?" Mr. Bill tagged me, didn't say anything though. What's up, Mr. Bill? Demenis says, "We are Borg." Nice. Demenis also says, "Literally no one has a better intro song than CiottiFPV." Thanks, dude. Guy named Quessy on Instagram had a bunch of his beats on his Instagram page, and I reached out to him. I said, "Hey, how much for a couple of those beats, bro?" And he's like, "What are you gonna do with them?" And I said, "I have a live stream and blah 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 blah." And he's like, "Here, you can just have them. It's all good. I'm not really doing it anymore. I'm in. It's just for funsies." So yeah. Quadzimoto rather says, "Hello, my friend." T-Bird says, "What's up?" And busy with being my boss. Rob Axelson says, "Footage is totally tubular." Martin Wynn says, "Yo, bro, collective." Ali Oop says, "What's up?" Your Majesty says, "That looks so fun, super jealous." Yeah, you know, those pipes were there, and then they were just gone. Like, they were there, and I flew it, and it was, like, right down the street from my place here in Atlanta. And then, like, a couple days later, like, I wanted to go fly them again, and they were just gone. They just vanished. So I guess they were using that parking lot as like a holding spot, maybe like overnight or something like that, and I just happened to get them. That was tough, man. They were like about this big or so, which like is big enough for a 5-inch to get through, but like, man, it was close. Like, you had to really be lined up. You couldn't really do that thing where like if this is dead straight, you couldn't really do that thing where you kind of came in at an angle and then straightened out while you were in there. There just like wasn't really enough space. What would happen is if you tried to do that, you would come in at an angle, you'd have a little bit of roll on, right? And then as you got into it, you would add throttle rather than adding more roll. And then as you would add throttle, it would just push you up into the top of the damn thing. So you would kind of get jammed up. You want to get jammed up? I'll fucking jam you up real good. Riot 9 with a 669 Australian super chat. He says, "Mac Fund, I love you." Thanks, brother. I'm going to assume that's roughly $10 because math can suck my balls. There it is. 80 out of 1,000 for the M1 Mac Fund. Thank you for the support, Riot9. Rumi Tim says, someone in Bardwell's stream said they hate your guts. Nice. And it wasn't Crunked, but the collective had your back. Really? It happens. You can't, I talk a lot of shit. So it is what it is. That person, you know what? I hate that person's guts. How about that, you son of a bitch? Slow Voltage says, happy Sunday, if it's a Sunday. Rob Axelson says, Hakuna Miata shirt, yep. Michael Blade says, what's up, buddy? Your Majesty with a $5.69 super chat. No comment, he just wants to support the madness. Thank you, Your Majesty. Very, very kind of you. Roger French, next time you type Ciotti, put an FPV after it and it'll light up in orange. Let me show you. This is not me calling you out at all, but this is what I look for. These are the typical comments that I read. I just basically look for the orange. Sometimes I'll happen to see my name, so you got lucky on this one, but that's sort of the way that we do it around here. So now you know. Hey Ciotti, what's your favorite way to update ESC settings for micros, web tools, etc.? That's a good question. I just use BL Heli, either 32 or BL Heli S, and then, yeah, I just do everything in there. I know that there is a website that functions as BL Heli, which is pretty slick, but I don't have a... Yeah, I mean, I have BL Heli on my laptop and on the desktop here, so it's, yeah, there's no real advantage to using that website. Good question, brother. Your Majesty says, first day of a long-needed vacation, starting it out right with your stream. Very cool, Your Majesty. Hope you have a long and relaxing vacation. Don't we all need that? Frank Nicholas dropping the link to CiottiFPV.com. Thank you, dude. Mr. Bill says, are you in the Atlanta area? I am, Mr. Bill. I moved here 2.5 years ago after living in Charleston for roughly 5 years and New Jersey for 33-ish. Yeah, 33, 34 years before that, which is where I was born, in New Jersey. Athix says, hey man. EE Doc says, any tips doing an indoor Rubik's Cube? I'm at risk at getting another letter in IGAO from that trick. You know, I don't like the way that Rubik's Cubes look, so I don't really do them. I don't, like, I know that I've done it before just to see what it looks like. And it's kind of disorienting, like there's a lot going on. So yeah, I'm unfortunately not the guy to ask about Rubik's Cubes. But off the top of my head, I mean, it's just a timing move. I mean, that's kind of the other thing, is that it's kind of a, it might sound weird, but it's kind of a one-dimensional move. Because it's just timing, like you're just making a triangle on the sticks, and yeah, it's the kind of move that if you do it 100 times, like that's kind of it. There's not much like style to it, you know. There's not much like there's not much that you can really do with it. It's just sort of one of these filler moves that a lot of people will use when they're going from point A to point B. You know, like if they're flying around like an interesting subject or wall or tree or whatever, and then there's another subject or wall or tree that they want to get to, a lot of times the Rubik's Cube is like the way to get between those two objects by just mashing the sticks around. I prefer to do stuff like flying really low to get between those two objects, and just kind of like, yeah, that's more my style. So but yeah, I mean, off the top of my head, I think just getting the movements done on the sticks as quick as possible is kind of obvious. But and then I guess the only other thing would be to do a bigger throttle blast than you would normally need outside, to really throw yourself up towards the ceiling, so that when you jump off the throttle to do the pitch, I guess it's a pitch forward typically, maybe. Well, here's something. If it is a pitch forward, if the initiation of that move is pitch down or pitch forward, right? Think about the thrust. You do a big throttle blip. As you're pitching forward, you can leave the throttle on for a second, because you've got all this time here to add a little bit of extra upward momentum. So yeah, you can delay your throttle chop a little bit just to get the maximum possible throw to the thing, and then do your disorienting, dizzying roll, and then I guess you pitch forward again to get out of it. I'm not sure. But yeah, that's a little subtle thing that you can maybe do to help out with it. But mainly, it's just doing it over and over and over again. And if you do it 100 times, you'll have the little triangle that you have to do and the timing that you have to do just figured out. Timing moves like that, you know, there's not really much subtlety to them. It's just do it over and over and over and over and over again, and just keep adjusting and keep changing your timing. What I will say is, like, as you don't, like, when you do one and it doesn't look right, don't just do another one and expect it to be better. Like, think about it for a second and, like, process what the hell just happened. Sometimes, like, you won't know, and then you just do another one. But, like, if you do any of these timing moves, and another way to think of timing moves is it's like up, down, down, left, right, AB start, or BA start. You know, it's just a button combination that you're doing over and over and over again until you get better at it. Yeah, take a second to process why it didn't look right. And then, you know, when I pitched forward, I didn't pitch forward enough, or something like that. So yeah, there's a couple tips for you. God damn it. YouTube just did the thing. Scott Gillen says, what's up? Dark Man says, hey. Cody SA says, money sent for 2204 motors and an extra 10 for the M1 Mac. Very cool of you, Cody. Let's get that added in, and I'm going to move these 2004 motors on top of the laptop so that when I grab my laptop later, they will be there, and I'll package them up and ship them on out for you. 80 goes to 90. Thank you very much for the support, my man. I will get these shipped out to you. What's today? Sunday? They'll go out tomorrow. Reggie Rail Systems, that's a fun name. He says, hi dude from Winter Haven, Florida. Winter Haven, Florida, where's that? North, south, east, west, Florida? Journey Droid says, there he is. Your Majesty says, looked like a micro would have been easier for sure with those pipes. In theory, yeah. You know, it's funny, micros shooting gaps better, has not necessarily been my experience until pretty lately, mainly because micros tend to lack a little bit of control compared to 5-inch rigs, just because 5-inch rigs have had a much deeper development cycle, and the ratio of all-up weight to amount of thrust to propeller size on a 5-inch rig is like really, really, really dialed in, because it's what, you know, our community has flown the most for the last 6 or 7 years. With micros, we're getting a lot closer. I think that we're really close right now. I am, at least, but it's not quite there. And the other thing is, nobody has as much time on micros as they do on 5-inch rigs for the most part. And when you're shooting like a tiny little gap, unless you have a big long distance to line it up, which with freestyle we typically don't. You know, with freestyle, like, we're coming down from the bottom of a power loop and trying to dump right into the gap, or the gap is vertical, so we're trying to do a dive down it. You know, we're usually like adjusting on the way to the gap. And with that quick adjustment, the thing that matters is your confidence level, your muscle memory, and how dialed the rig is. So it's interesting, like, and then the other thing, right, is that a 5-inch rig is only really this big, and then a 3-inch rig is like that big, you know. So like the difference is like a couple of inches, and as all of our girlfriends and wives know, I guess that doesn't work. But yeah, it doesn't make as big of a difference as you'd think in my experience. And which is a problem, because when I'm out flying micros, I'll see a tiny little gap and I'll be like, oh, I can fit through that with this. That's what she said. T-Bird says, congratulations to the Mazda 2. Thank you, brother. Check this out. I cleaned up I spent 2 hours with the 3M headlight restoration kit yesterday, and man, they came out really nice. I've used this kit before on the Miata, and they came out amazing. But it's been like 15 years. So I was a little worried I would fuck the headlights up. Headlights are expensive, so you don't want to screw them up. But it was just as easy as I remembered. If you guys have foggy, yellowed headlight lenses, you can fix it, and it's not hard at all. Don't pay somebody $200, $300 to fix it. It's not worth it. It's only going to take you like 2 hours. So if you do this, the kit is like $30, and then, yeah, it's going to take you like 2 hours. So you're paying yourself $100 an hour. And it's not like technical work that you would want a qualified person to do per se. So yeah, do it. Pay yourself $200 an hour. Pay yourself $100 an hour to actually do this, and it's a good little workout too. So this is where they were initially, and this is a 2013. So 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. So 8 years of being out in the sunlight with ultraviolet, sunlight beating the shit out of the clear plastic. So yeah, this is where they were initially. You can see it's really nasty up in here. So the kit comes with masking tape, but you probably have masking tape. So you just masking tape it off so that you don't fuck up your paint around it, because you are going to be using a drill. You have to have an electric drill, by the way. Although they do sell these kits with just regular sandpaper that you can do by hand, but don't do that. Buy an electric grill if you need to. An electric drill rather. So yeah, this is after that's where it started with just the masking tape, and then so you hit it with I think the first step in the 3M kit is whatever. It's a coarse grit sandpaper, and then it's a little bit finer of a grit of sandpaper, and then that's finished. One step after this is wet sand. It's like a 3000 grit maybe, and you wet sand it, so you gotta have a little squirt bottle or a sponge with soapy water in it, which is easy as well. And you're putting these all on a drill, just a regular old electric battery powered drill. They give you a little. So they give you this, which you just put on your drill. So they give you that, which you put on your drill, and it's got, Velcro, the hook part of the Velcro. And then the reason I went and got this is because you can do it yourself. It's just sandpaper. So they start you off with 500 grit. That's the first pass. Second pass is 800 grit. Third pass is, I was right, 3000 grit, which is wet sand. And you put each one of those on this little shitbird, and then they give you a little polishing pad and rubbing compound, plastic polish that you put on this, and this is the fourth step. And yeah, it takes it all the way up to that, which is pretty much brand new. Yeah. Huge difference in light output too. I mean, just imagine how like bright white / yellowish light hitting this yellowed piece of plastic is a nightmare. Whereas when it looks like this, you can actually see where you're going. It's like going from analog to digital, friends. So yeah, do it. It's one of the things, like, there are certain things that I will do to my cars. There are other things that I won't do. This is one of the things that I think it makes a lot of sense to do, mainly because the things that I choose not to do are things that, like, if I fuck up, it'll be really expensive, or but like I'm worried about fucking them up. I should preface that with that. This is something that like it's pretty straightforward, right? It's sandpaper, and it's so, and you just don't jam the most coarse grit into one spot, right? Like, don't just hold it on one spot for 30 seconds. You're gonna burn the shit. You're gonna burn right through it. You just keep it moving, and yeah, it's good. You should do it. It's good. Because most cars have yellowed, foggy headlights. These are pretty bad. So I had to really spend some time on these. It might not take you 2 hours, but I wanted to get it really clean. And then when you do this, go get them like wrapped, or some of the kits have some of the kits have like some kind of a coating that you put on afterwards, like a nano coating. But yeah, put some kind of a coating on them, or clear coat them, or do something, because they will just re-yellow and then you'll have to do it all over again. Personally, I like Laminix, Laminix. They've been making headlight film forever. They're really well known for, great website, guys. They're really well known for their like yellow or smoked headlight covers, but they also make clear, and it really helps. I'm considering actually getting the yellow, because yellow cuts through fog really well, and it might look pretty cool against the blue of the car. Or I might just get clear, or you can just go to a tint place, because this is just tint. You can just go to your local tint shop and ask them to do your headlights in like clear tint, and it won't be all that expensive. And then you won't have to do it again. It'll hold up a lot better. It'll deal with rock chips better, stuff like that, which the front of your car gets assaulted by. So yeah, hey, they even call it out here: protecting your lights from UV rays, protective film, blah 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 blah. Hey, look, they said exactly what I just said. Road abuse such as sandblasting and gravel impact. So yeah, do it. Take care of your car. Love your car. You drive it every day. Love it. Or else. Quad McJelly Drone says hi. That's one of the better names I've seen on YouTube. Got that one. Germagistry says, also a flippy trick like that gives Speeple good places to edit out a crash. That's true. That's very true. Lewis Taylor says, is that what steel does like most of the time? Yeah. It's a style, you know. It's not, you know, I don't like it, but who the fuck am I? Like, who cares what I like and don't like? Luckily, this is my show, so I can say whatever I want. Robert Garcelone says, Rubik's Cube does not interact with the environment, boring filler into flow. That, you know, that's exactly what I don't like about it, Robert. Really good call on that. Yeah, that's exactly what I don't like about it, is that it doesn't really interact with the environment. Although, in Bubby's drift edit, he does one of them right on top of a car, so it can be used to interact with the environment, but it looks terrible in my opinion, because it makes sense on the way around, but then the whole world like rotates 360, and it's like, oh my god, like, you know, for us, I guess I get it, because it's, you know, it's one of these things that's like it's a show off. It's like a pilot showing off for other pilots move, right? And I just don't care about that. Like, I just don't care if other pilots think I'm good. You know what I mean? Like, I want the video and the footage to look good. And so, yeah. But again, that's just me. You know, maybe somebody really likes that. But, like, every single non-pilot that I've ever shown flight footage to, the second that I do anything that's roll heavy, that makes the whole world rotate like this, which the Rubik's Cube does very violently, they get pulled way out of the action, because it's like nauseating, you know, like we're used to it because we've been doing this forever, and it's really fun for us to do full rolls all the time, you know? How many full rolls have we all done? Thousands and thousands and thousands, right? So like we're used to seeing the entire universe rotate around, but nobody else is, and yeah, I try to avoid moves that like make people go like, ugh. You know, I try, just in general, in life, I try to avoid things that make other people around me go, ugh. Just as a general rule, you know? Less ugh, more like, huh. I like people around me to go, oh. Oh. Rather than, What if I flipped off the chair just now? Would you guys shit your pants? FPV says, I just built a Cinesplorer and I'm getting a significant amount of jello in the FPV cam. What should I check? If you are a patron of mine for $3 whole a month, I have an article on the top of the Patreon page. There are buttons that are going to say Tech Talk, edits, live streams, audio. Those buttons filter the posts. I have 1 million posts on the Patreon page. If you click Tech Talk, that's going to filter on the posts that I've put up with the tag Tech Talk. One of those posts is motor heat troubleshooting. That is what you want. Motor heat is created because of too many vibrations getting into the gyro. Jello is created by too many vibrations getting into the gyro. So jump onto the Patreon page. I know that you're on the Patreon because we've been talking over there. And yeah, click Tech Talk, look for the motor heat troubleshoot post, and just work through it. The reason that I'm not answering your question and I'm putting you into that post is because there's a series of things that it could be. And for me to rattle those off right now, you're going to remember like the first one, maybe the second one. You're not going to remember the third, fourth, fifth, sixth. So that post is going to walk you through it. And it's also going to take you, like, I've ordered the things in that post from like most common to least common. So you probably won't need to go through the entire list. Whereas like if I just rattle them off here, it's just going to be randomly, you know, ordered. And it might waste some of your time. So take advantage of the fact that you're supporting me over on Patreon. Look that post up, and it should be one of those things. Martin Wynn says, go to learn more about the Patreon and Discord, but how much is 5-inch tier, and does that put you in the Discord chat? Martin, joining the Patreon puts you into the Discord chat. Like just joining for the general admission, $3. That gets you damn near everything other than the giveaways. If you join the 5-inch tier for $20 a month, in addition to all the normal stuff, one of those things is the Discord chat. In addition to that, it's also going to enter you into the 5-inch giveaway every other week. The prizes are typically roughly $50 to $100. A set of motors, a frame, a flight controller, an ESC, stuff like that. So yeah, that's basically how it works, Martin. Thanks for heading over to the Patreon and checking it out, man. That's cool of you. JRFPV says, did that guy get those 1504.5s from you? He did. Yeah, JR. I don't even remember who it was. I don't remember who it was. I shipped him out, and I was doing that on top of like a whole bunch of stuff, and everything just kind of in my head. But I think you can still find them. I think they're still being sold. If you absolutely can't find them, JR, and you need that replacement, like as in like if you can't find them, like nobody's selling them anymore, hit me up. I'll be able to figure out who bought them, and maybe they're willing to sell you one. IDV says, a battery recommendation for the Tiny Hawk 2 Freestyle. Just ordered it. IDV, do me a favor. Ask me that question again, and tag me again, but tell me which battery it comes with. I don't know what battery it comes with, and I don't know that rig all that well. the battery that it comes with will get me in the ballpark as to what to recommend to you. Remy Tim says, PayPal $10 for M1. Thank you very much, Remy Tim. You are the goddamn man. 90 goes to 100. We are in triple digits, my friends. Let me fix this. Oops, nope, that ain't it. Oop, that ain't it. That's it. There it is. Look at that, ain't it. Old man learns to computer live on stream. I know how to type now. Thank you, Dan. You're the man with the plan. Your name's not Stan. Don't do the can. All right, I'll stop. Reggie Rail System says Winter Haven is south of Orlando, 30 miles east of Tampa, 40 miles. Very cool. So that would be on the East Coast side, I guess, right? YouTube's about to do the thing. Here it goes. Slow Voltage tagged me with a little facepalm. I wonder what I was doing to deserve that. Was it up, down, left, right? Right 9 says, I just piss on my headlights. MCM tip. There's another, the other like urban myth on cleaning headlights is toothpaste, which, I mean, technically, yeah, toothpaste is a very slight abrasive, but it's not going to really do much. June Loco says, what's good? Yella Captain says, good evening from the Netherlands. Wax is the other thing that you can do to headlights to protect them, but wax is going to just disappear eventually. Mechanic Curran says, need to seal the plastic after the polish or it will just be as bad in no time. Yep, Mechanic Curran knows what's up. I made that mistake with the Miata. I bought the Laminex for the Miata, but then I didn't put it on it, and they yellowed again, and then it was like, well, I can't put it on now. I gotta refinish them. Remy Tim just ordered a kit and forgot to use your affiliate link. Don't make the mistake I made, CiottiFPV.com. It's all good. I make the same mistake. Just start using bookmarks again like it's 1999 and use my affiliate links for your bookmarks. EEDoc says, unfortunately for iGow, I can't argue with cinematic qualities of the trick. So true. Athix FPV says, you said love your car. I have a 2x4 holding down a spark plug due to a bad boot / wire. I just remembered this. I've been driving it like this for 3 years plus. Athix going with the Jeremy Clarkson NB Miata repair method from the... Ooh, where was that adventure? Where were they when he did that? It was when he bought the orange NB Miata, which is the same... He basically bought the exact same Miata as mine, but in orange rather than black. And they were in... I want to say Somalia. I believe it's the Top Gear Somalia adventure. Let's check it. Let's check your boy Ciotti's Top Gear knowledge. Top Gear Somalia. Botswana. Wait, no, not Botswana. Not Botswana. Not Botswana. Was it Africa? You guys probably are calling it out in the chat, but this is much more fun. No, it's not the Africa special. That's where they had the station wagons. Top Gear, Orange, Miata, Adventure. That should find it. Yeah, so there it is. So where the hell were they? Oh, fuck off. There it is. The Three Wise Men episode. That's right, the Three Wise Men episode. I forget where that was though, but yeah, that's where they kept making fun of the baby Jesus. Let me check the chat. Let's see if any of you guys figured it out. Sudan, was that it? Wherever you know, religion is from. Jerusalem, that's it. Jerusalem. They were headed to Jerusalem. Oh my god. Oh, and it was a Christmas special. Ah, okay. I'm gonna see if I can browbeat Maggie into watching this Christmas special with me this year. I've not really like I've talked about Top Gear. Top Gear has been a big part of my life. I actually discovered Top Gear when I was in college. So we're talking like 1999, 2000, 2001, 2002. Yeah, back then it was all, you had to get it from torrent sites. There was no, it wasn't televised on anything. I mean, there wasn't anything. There was no Netflix. There was no Hulu back then. Well, there was Netflix, but they were sending DVDs in the fucking mail like a bunch of cavemen. But yeah, Top Gear has been a big part of my life for a long, long, long time. I mean, I've been into cars since high school, and Top Gear is exactly like what I'm into with cars. It's not just drag racing. It's not just, you know, how dumb can I make it look by lowering it all the way down, or for the pickup truck morons, raising the front and lowering the rear. It's about driving. It's about, you know, the way that the cars are engineered. It's about, you know, the finer like details of the automotive world. And yeah, I mean, that's what Top Gear really dives into. So for a long time in my life, I would fall asleep to Top Gear every night. It was just like a nice soothing thing for me to put on the television. Specifically when I used to sleep on a futon for many, many, many years. Yeah, I would just fall asleep to Top Gear every night. So I can rattle off quotes from, I mean, a lot of my vocabulary is quotes from that show, actually, just because I've seen them all. So there's 24 seasons, 22 seasons of proper BBC Top Gear. I have probably watched those 20 plus seasons beginning to end, season 1 all the way through, at least 15 times, probably closer to 20 or even 25 or even maybe 30 times all the way beginning to end of that series. Not like I haven't done that like sitting at the TV, like staring at the TV the entire time, right? Like it's on while I'm doing other stuff, but you know, like I'll sit down and watch 10-15 minutes of it and then, you know, vacuum and then sit back down and then cook and then so yeah, I mean, it's just those three people, Clarkson, Hammond, and May, their relationship and their dialect and the things that they say and the way that they say them and the jokes and the it's just perfect, man. I mean, it like, to me, Top Gear will go down as maybe the greatest unscripted show in history. I can't think of another unscripted show that can come anywhere near it. I'm sure that what's the best for you guys? What's the best unscripted show of all time? And Top Gear is in a little bit of a gray area where like they kind of script like an outline of the show and then they go. So it's not like totally unscripted, like you know, just grabbing a camera and running out and pointing it at a building that's on fire or something like that, right? But you know, they don't script the jokes. They don't script like a lot of this. It's considered an unscripted show. It used to win a lot of awards for best unscripted show. I can't think of any other. I can't really think of any other really good unscripted shows. Maybe you guys can. We can compare. WAMFPV says, thanks, dude. You're certainly welcome. Athix, we got that. IDV says it comes with a 2S 450, actually two 1S 450s, but you place them in series. So I would look at the so 450. I would just stick with GNB. GNB is also the company that makes RDQ's batteries. So if you buy an RDQ battery, you're buying a GNB battery. GNB makes like the best sort of all-around batteries. They're not the cheapest. They're not the most expensive. They're not the lightest. They're not the heaviest. They're not the most fragile. They're not the least fragile. They're like kind of perfectly in the middle. And like 9 times out of 10, if you're questioning like which battery should I buy, if you buy a GNB battery, you're gonna love it. Tattoo R-line batteries are a little bit lighter, and they can sometimes perform a little bit better, but they're a little bit more fragile. So if you're hard on your batteries and you over discharge batteries all the time, a Tattoo R-line is probably not a good option. If you don't, it's a great option because you're going to get lighter weight, more runtime because of the lighter weight, and potentially it's going to deliver a little bit more power than some of the other options. And then if you want something but it's a little bit more expensive. And then if you want something a little bit cheaper, it's going to be China Hobby Line, but it's going to be heavier, and that's going to reduce the flight time, and they deliver good power, but they're cheaper. So there you go. That's really, and I would actually stay. I mean, the MAH of the battery is kind of on you. Like, are you getting enough flight time with that rig? Alternatively, are you getting the performance that you want out of that rig? Those two things are on a seesaw. More flight time, worse performance. Better performance, less flight time. So that's how you're going to decide if you go up to a 500 mAh or if you go down to a 400 mAh or even a 350 mAh. Hell, even a 300 mAh, because 2S you'll be fine. So there you go, IDV. That's how you're going to pick. Pick your battery manufacturer, and then pick the milliamp hours depending upon which side of that seesaw you want to be on. Better flight performance, worse runtime. Worse flight performance, better runtime. Rob Axelson says 2S650 is great for the Tiny Hawk Freestyle. You have to do an XT30 conversion. Careful with the XT30 conversions on those AIO boards. There are AIO boards that will blow up if you do an XT30 conversion, because switching to the XT30 removes the additional resistance of the PH 2.0 connectors. And if an AIO is already stressed to the point where it's about to blow up, and you do that, you're going to blow it up. So just be careful with the XT30 conversion. It's not a lot. It's not many of the AIOs that'll blow up if you do that, but there are some out there. So just be careful. Look it up. See if other people have look up people that have done that conversion on your same rig or AIO, and just make sure that they're not all saying, don't do it, it'll blow up. Mechanic Curtain says toothpaste is just a mild rubbing component. Demenis says toothpaste doesn't work. I tried it. Yeah, I tried toothpaste as well. It didn't do shit. But if you just have like the tiniest little bit of haze, it might do something. Doc says best unscripted show for me is Nathan For You. I actually didn't even know that show. Rob Axelson says Reno 911. I didn't even know that was unscripted. That makes a lot more sense. Hey, Maggie's in the chat. She says I can probably be convinced. Yeah, you might like it. Rob Axelson said, and we got that. Mythbusters. Oh, Wind Jumbie. Fuck you. No, Mythbusters is not better than Top Gear. It might be better than Top Gear. Oh man, that's a terrible thing to have to choose. Man, those are two shows that nobody should have to live without. Realistically, Mythbusters is probably a better show for people, like, just from like a humanity standpoint. Just because it applies to everyone. Top Gear only really works for car people. Although, here's the thing, right? I've introduced a shitload of non-car people to Top Gear, and they've gotten completely hooked on it because of the chemistry between Jeremy, James, and Richard. So I don't know. But I mean, Mythbusters is the best show ever, so Oh yeah, Mythbusters. My God. Ruby Tim says, "Where do you watch Top Gear now? I know Grand Tour is on Amazon, but I'd love to start watching old seasons. I used to watch it when I was in high school on occasion." So Amazon has all of it. It's not all free though. Motor Trend has bought the rights. It appears to the first 3 or 4 seasons of Top. So for the record, we're talking about Top Gear UK. I don't talk about any other Top Gears. Top Gear America doesn't exist. Top Gear Australia doesn't exist. None of the non-UK Top Gears exist. And the non... Actually, even more specifically than that, when I say Top Gear, I mean Jeremy, James, and Richard Top Gear. Any Top Gear without those 3 hosts can suck my fat ass. They're all, like, no. That's... No. 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 So Motor Trend has bought the rights, I think, to the first 4 or 5 or 3 seasons. So you can't watch those without paying for them. Don't pay for them. The first few seasons they're okay, but they're not that great. They're definitely not worth paying for. Top Gear really gets good around season 4, 5, 6, and then like season 7 and 8 and 9 and 10. Like oh my God! It's those early like season 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh my God, that is everything. That's some of the best television ever made, ever. Starting with season 4 or 5, you can watch it on Amazon for free. And then you can run it all the way through all the really good seasons until seasons like 18, 19, and 20, like towards the end. Motor Trend has bought the rights to those as well. Luckily, those they're still really good, but you know, at that point they've been doing it for like 15 fucking years, so it's just not quite as spontaneous, it's not quite as fresh, still really, really, really good, but yeah, the Top Gears that you can watch for free on Amazon are the best years, the best seasons. They're on torrent sites all over the damn place. JT Custom Knives says, CiottiFPV is my unscripted show. Riot9 says, you can't do that on television, Canadian show. I've actually heard, I remember that show for some strange reason. Jackalope says, I love New York, went pretty hard in the paint. Mechanicarin says, Top Gear is great, some 5th Gear is okay. I actually love 5th Gear. I was a 5th Gear fan before I was a Top Gear fan, believe it or not. Tiff Nadell can actually drive. Have you seen Clarkson's Farm? Not about cars, but not bad. Clarkson's Farm is great. So the Top Gear guys, all 3 of them have done amazing stuff outside of Top Gear. They haven't really done anything. They choose not to do anything car related. They obviously get lots of opportunities to do car related shows, and they say no to them, and they have like forever. All 3 of them decided a long time ago, and they talk about this here and there on interviews, where if you want one of them, you got to take all 3. And typically shows can't afford all 3 of them, which is, it feels like they kind of did that on purpose because they don't want to like dilute the brand, you know? But all 3 of them have done amazing stuff. Clarkson's Farm is fucking hysterical. James May has a bunch of really good stuff. He has a cooking show. He has a couple cooking shows. There is James May, Your Man in Japan, I think it's called, which is fucking great. James May did a show called Man Lab, which is amazing. And then Richard Clarkson's done a bunch of other stuff too. I can't think of any of it off the top of my head right now. Richard has done a bunch of good stuff as well. Richard has a tendency to just host kind of shows over there, probably because he's the best looking of them. So he's hosted a bunch of really interesting, more mainstream kind of shows. Think of shows like How Things Work, shows like, the biggest thing, the biggest machine on Earth. You know what I mean? Like those shows that are like educational but still really, really interesting. Well, actually, I have on one of these hard drives on this computer, I have a folder with every single show that every single one of these guys has ever done, as well as every single season of proper Top Gear. So 22 seasons of Top Gear, and then those guys have hosted some Top Gear specials, Top Gear Apocalypse, Top Gear at the Movies, Stars and Fast Cars, a whole bunch of best ofs, Back in the Fast Lane, Ground Force Sports Relief, which is pretty funny, Top Gear of the Pops, Top Gear Polar Special, Top Gear Revved Up, Stars and Fast Cars, another episode of that, Top Gear The Challenges, that's just the best of, though. Top Gear The Perfect Road Trip, that's a really good one. Top Gear The Worst Car of the World, Top Gear Winter Olympics, A to Z, and what's this one? Oh, that's the Patagonia special. James May has done Honey, I Shrunk the World. Oh, no. So it's called 20th Century. James did a show called 20th Century that's really good. He also did a show called Big Ideas, Cars of the People, Man Lab, My Sister's Top Toys. Well, he did a whole series called Top Toys, which is really good. Oh, he did Oz and James, too. If you like wine, or if you have any interest in wine whatsoever, or even just an interest in alcohol, watch Oz and James. Oz Clarke over in the UK is a wine guy, and yeah, him and James did this great show called Oz and James. 3 seasons of it. It's fucking fantastic. James also did a show called Things You Need to Know. Toy Stories is a great show. That's where My Sister's Top Toys comes from. James May did a show called Toy Stories that's fantastic. He also did a single episode called On the Moon that's amazing. And those are the main things that James did. Richard did, that's it, Engineering Connections. That's the show that Richard did that I really dug. Engineering Connections is a really, really cool show that Hammond did. He also did Miracles of Nature, which is fantastic. Hammond and the Holy Grail was a 2-hour special he did that was great. Hammond Meets Evel Knievel is a good one. What else? Ooh, Invisible Worlds. Richard Hammond's Invisible Worlds. That's another really good one. You guys will dig that one. I think he only did 3 episodes of that, but it's really cool. So, like, Invisible Worlds, as in, like, in the world that we live in, there are these other, like, invisible worlds that we don't notice, right? Like, for example, they did some beautiful time lapses of, like, forests and trees, and basically says that, like, this is to us it's invisible because our I want to say sensation, but that's not it. Our time to us has a specific, like, flow, right? Like, a minute is a minute, and a minute is like a good amount. Like, if I just sit here and stare at the camera for a minute, it's gonna feel like a long time, right? But a minute in a forest is not a long time. Trees and shit, like, just plants, let's say, they grow very slowly, so they don't exist in a world of minutes. They exist in a world of months, I guess, right? Years. And that's one of the, and then he'll go to the complete opposite side of that and do, like, high speed footage, 1,000 frame per second footage of, like, a hummingbird, right? Because it flaps its wings at 11 billion flaps per millisecond or whatever. And yeah, he talks about how, like, these are invisible worlds that are right in front of our eyes, but we just don't see them because we don't see fast enough or we don't see slow enough. And then he talks about, like, scale, right? Like the development of an entire city. If you look at a city, if you were to do, like, a time lapse from, like, 1,000 feet up of a city, that would be like an invisible world, right? Like that city developing. Like, we don't really see that because so it's a really cool show. Really cool concept. I love that concept of like we're surrounded by these invisible worlds. We just need to, technology has helped us to see them, which is pretty slick. He also did this Journey. What is this? Journey to the Center of the Planet? Yeah, Richard Hammond's Journey to the Center of the Planet. And then Wild Weather. I don't remember that one, actually. He did a show called Wild Weather. I don't know if I watched that. I might have just downloaded it. And then Clarkson, he's just done a bunch of like 2-hour specials. He doesn't have a lot of shows that he hosts. He did host a show called Inventions That Changed the World a long time ago that was really cool. He did another one called Meet the Neighbors way long ago. Before Top Gear, he did a show called Motor World. If you want to see a fuzzy-haired, denim-clad Jeremy Clarkson, check out Motor World. And then, yeah, he's just done a bunch of 2-hour specials. Apocalypse, Duel, Full Throttle, Good, Bad, and Ugly, Greatest Raid of All Time, Head to Head, Heaven and Hell, Hot Metal. Here's the Inventions That Changed the World. Most Outrageous, Motorsport Mayhem, No Limits, Powered Up, Shootout, Supercar Showdown, Italian Job Bonus, Thriller, Top 100 Cars, Unleashed on Cars. And then these guys all have books, too. If you want to read a little something, yeah, they've all got some amazing books. My favorite is Richard Hammond's book called... Hold on. It's called On the Edge. Richard Hammond, On the Edge, is my favorite of his. That's the book where he talks about the jet car accident, where he almost died. He suffered very, very, very traumatic brain damage up here. The jet car at 280-ish, I want to say, miles an hour rolled over, went into the grass, and the roll cage above his head dug into the grass. And so all of the G-forces went this way, which is not a great direction for your brain, because this is where a lot of our processing happens in the frontal lobes. So his brain slammed into his skull in this direction because when it was it was still going 100 and something miles an hour, and then it just dug into the grass and just stopped. So he experienced a shitload of G-force in this direction, yeah, scary stuff, but like really cool to hear him talk about it and like the recovery and just really really cool book. All three of them have some amazing books. So, yeah. Can you guys tell that I really like Top Gear? That went off the rails in a fucking hurry. Athix FPV says, I loved watching Junkyard Wars. That was a great show. Oh my god, Junkyard Wars was awesome. I can't picture that junkyard that they were in. That's right. Yeah. I remember that junkyard. Right. Oh my god. And what's her name? Jamie? Jessie? No, that's not her. The one. What's her name? She passed away last year, I think. Jessie Combs, I want to say was her name. Really cute. Car chick. Maybe that's not her. I don't know. Junkyard Wars was awesome though. Oh, what a fun show. Okay, moving on. Oh, we got that. Ricardo says, do you parallel charge your Lipos? Typically, yes. Unless I'm just charging a couple. Yeah, I do parallel charge. I use Joshua Bardwell's board. And yeah, I've never had an accident. It's got fuses. It's got fuses for the XT60s. It's got poly fuses for the bounce ports. Bounce plugs, rather. As long as you pay attention, parallel boards are pretty goddamn safe. But you do have to pay attention. So if you know yourself and you know that you're not careful, maybe don't do a parallel board. You do have to be careful. If you're just doing micro batteries, it's not that big a deal. But if you're doing big 5-inch batteries, you definitely have to be careful because they'll shoot a couple feet of fire and burn your fucking house down. IDV says thanks for the help. You're certainly welcome. Winjumby says mindfuck. Robox says Reno 911 is mostly improv. Demenis says, do you watch Street Outlaws? I've never even heard of Street Outlaws. WAMFPV says the review of the Abarth Spider made me want one bad. I'm also a former Miata guy. I remember wanting the Abarth Spider, but man, I could not deal with the way that it looked. I remember thinking, all right, just wait. The aftermarket will fix the way that it looks. And I don't think that they did. Let me see something here. So the best way to find a car, but then with parts on it, is to type in the name of the car and then the word slammed. That'll show you every single person who's taken a picture of it that only cares about looks. Because if you slam a car, then you don't care about performance or anything else, and those people tend to spend money on making the cars look good. So it's an easy way to find pictures of a car with every possible body kit imaginable. And yeah, like, look, it still looks stupid. The headlights, man, the headlights are just ridiculous. I mean, that's kind of getting there, but I mean, that's a render. Yeah, I mean, again, I mean, that's kind of getting there, but man, those headlights just don't work, in my opinion. Yeah, so it's still, yeah, I couldn't drive it, even though it's got a good powertrain. I couldn't be. I would rather have a 500 Abarth. That looks better than the Spider. But the 500s fucking flip over if you bang them really hard into the curbing with sticky tires on them. And they're a little too small. There is such a thing as too small. Rob Axon says BQE called. It wants its stream back. Remy Tim says NPR called. Click and Clack, the Tappet brothers are suing you for all this car talk. Arazi B says 11 billion flaps per millisecond. CiottiFPV 2021. Rob Axon says, love you, brother, but you're losing people. Am I really? Sorry, guys. Let's talk FPV. Mr. Huggy says, back to FPV. IDV says, till when do you stream? 5 o'clock. Robert Garcelon says, top quad featuring Ciotti. Demenis says, Street Outlaws is a reality street racing show. I have seen Street Outlaws. Yeah, they didn't... I didn't think that they did it right. They focus, of course. They tried to make it for the masses, and when you do that with a car show, for me, it ruins it. Let's finish this glide, which is not going to take very long, and then we'll knock out that RipSqueak setup, because I'm sure that you guys want to take a look at Betaflight. Hold on, I need to grab something to drink, though. I just talked about so much Top Gear that I'm parched. Stronger than this, S4s. God damn it. Just be a little stronger, fuckwads. Ah, crashes, death. Okay. Is Street Outlaws the show where they did the whole thing on a runway? I remember, like, the matchups were just dumb. Like, they didn't make good matchups. And it was just like, you know, oh look, this hypercar being driven by a jackass is gonna get this shit kicked out. I don't know, it was weird. It was weird. So, just need to make a cable, I think. And one of these cables might actually work. So let me take a quick look. So the, how many pins are on the flight controller? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then there's 8 on here. So so that's good news. Okay. Pins up. We've got ground positive motors, current telemetry. I need to find a pinout of this diatone Mamba flight controller. Mamba 20 by 20. Shit. I don't know if it's an F4 or an F7. Let me plug it in. I'll plug it in. I'll be able to tell what flight controller. Oh god, it is. Let's see. Let's see. It is F722. Diatone Mamba F722. F722. The question is, what version? I think there's a bunch of different versions. Let's see what we can figure out here. No, I think that was it right there. So, okay. Great. Guys from OKC at first, but now they have Memphis and other places, mostly drag racing on regular streets. Jesus, really? Wow. I don't think I've seen that. What's it on? Okay. What? Why? No. Go away. Really? You worked this hard for it? It's not even here. What? Where is it? Oh boy. Motor. 3D print. You know what? Fuck you. Let's go here, and let's go here. That's the 30 by 30. We need the 20 by 20. There it is. F722 DJI Mini. Does that look like this one? Not quite. I don't think that's the one. Take a closer look here, though. Oh my god, come on, man! Don't do that. AliExpress to the rescue. Oh wait, is that the one? So this is the Mark III. OSD chip is down there, then the gyro is above it, then there's a big boy there, and then there's that piece there. Yeah, buddy, that's the one. Cool. Happy days are here at last. We've got ground on the outside, VBAT right next to it. Then the motors. Okay. That's all I needed to see. Okay. Ground, VBAT. Let's find a cable that's going to work. Where'd that cable go? Okay, so this side will work on the ESC. Then this side pins upwards. Shit, sorry guys. Pins upwards. It's going to be ground on the outside. That's good. VBAT next to it. That's good. The motors. And then here's the moment of truth. Telemetry, then current. So telemetry is yellow, current is blue. Telemetry is yellow, current is blue. On this guy, telemetry, of course, is blue, current is yellow. All right, so we just need to switch 2 of these, and it doesn't even matter which side we switch them from. So we'll do it on this side. Take our really pointy tweezers and get it so you can hold this one single 30 gauge wire in your thumb and middle finger. You're going to use your index finger to hold the connector down. You're going to very gently pry up the little plastic latch, and then you're going to pull that cable out nice and easy. Thumb and middle finger hold the wire, just the individual wire. Index finger holds the connector. Pry up the plastic latch, gently pull. Pull it out the rest of the way. And now we're going to swap them. And we're going to put blue in here. I've done that about 1,000,000 times. It's not going to be that easy for you guys. But those are my little tips as to how to do that a little bit easier. All right. And we're good to go. The last thing you want to do is push down on those little make sure that they're inserted all the way, and then push down on the little plastic latches, just to make sure that when you plug this in, it doesn't pull those out. If you really want to be sure, take your 5X loop, which you should not be living without, and just take a look and make sure that the little latches and everything is happy up in that dirty bastard. So we've got our cable. Let's plug it in to the ESC. And then this doesn't need to be plugged into USB anymore. So we're plugging it into USB. I chose yellow for telemetry because the letter T is close to the letter Y. Yeah. Doing thoughtful stuff like that, like down the road, if you need to know which one is which, it'll be easier for you to know. Just a little top tip. You don't have to do it, but it can maybe help. And I'm spinning this up to reduce a little bit of the length. It's a little bit too long. So I'm just going to coil it up and then pins up. So I'm going to fold this thing down. It has to make this 180 in order to plug into the front of the flight controller here. So we're going to take care of that. Make sure that these are sitting flat against the connector. And we're going to sneak it up here. Hopefully I can get it past the camera. I might need to scooch the camera a little bit. Yeah, I'll just pull it off all the way. All right, get this guy up in here. And when you're plugging these Model X connectors in, really make sure that you get them seated. It's really, really important. They're not great connectors, so you really always want to make sure that that you have them seated all the way, because otherwise eventually the vibrations will cause them to come unplugged, which you do not want. And now I'm just making sure that right up here on the front, it's wrapping really flat around the because the camera comes kind of close to the front of the board. Not that close, but it's just one of those things. Just take a second to make sure it's all happy up in there. And now we're good to go. We're gonna grab the smoke stopper, apply voltage to this thing. Hopefully it doesn't burn the entire building down. And I guess we'll throw it into BL Heli and update this damn thing. Might as well. This is a Betaflight V2. This is the only smoke stopper that works. If you don't have one, you need to get one. It also has an on-off button, which is just the most satisfying thing ever. So let's see if we get 5 beeps. Ready? Oh, that ain't good. Oh, although this ESC is trying to beep the motors so hard that it's actually tripping the Betaflight. even when I put it on 2 amp mode. It's now on 2 amp mode, watch. But it's the beep. So here's, this is actually kind of important, guys. This is an important little thing to kind of wrap your head around, right? So if you finished up this build and you did that, you'd be like, oh, it's broken. There's a problem, right? Because it's tripping the Vi-Fly, and that's not good. We don't want it to trip the Vi-Fly. But listen and watch. It's coming on board. It's coming on, right? Like look at the flight controller. Ready? Look at the lights in the flight controller. Ready? So they're coming on. Look at the arm LEDs. They're coming on. Look at the receiver. It's coming on. Look at the VTX. It's coming on, right? Everything is coming on, and then this thing is tripping. Electricity is instant. So when I hit this switch, electricity goes into the ESC, and it's not blowing up. Then it goes to the flight controller, it's not blowing up. Then it goes to the receiver and the VTX, they're not blowing up. It also goes to the camera, it's not blowing up. Nothing has caught on fire yet, and we've put voltage to this thing 12 times in a row. So we can be pretty sure that it's actually good to go. Also, the other giveaway is that this thing is tripping while it's beeping. And in order for this thing to beep, what it has to do is vibrate these motors very quickly. Like, it really vibrates the motors very quickly. I'm going to show you how to fix this problem in a minute. But it's just important to understand this, because at this point, you don't want to rip this rig apart, because there's probably nothing wrong with it. We're going to test that out by just giving it full 6S voltage. And look at that. It didn't catch on fire, and it gave us 5 beeps. Here's how you fix that problem. This is an ESC. This is the first time that I've been able to hook this ESC up to BL Heli. The default settings for the volume of the startup tone are too high. And that's the problem that we're having here, and I'm going to show you how to fix that. So let's get this thing plugged. I mean, I kind of just explained it, so you guys probably don't need me to actually show you this, but I want to do this anyway. So we're going to put power to it again, and we're going to come into BL Heli 32. You'll notice that the rig still hasn't caught on fire. We're going to connect. We're going to check. Come on. There we go. We're going to check. And all is well. And this is it. Startup beep volume. This 40 is too high. Bring this down to 5 or 4. All right. And then we're going to right setup. I'm also going to flash this thing to the newest BL Heli, but I want to do this. Oh, wait, it's already on it. 32.8. What? How the hell is this thing on? What? How's it on 32.8? Did I already flash it? I might have already flashed it. I don't think I already flashed it. All right, so check this out. Ready? So now that I turn that startup beep volume down, oh, look at that LED. About to die. That's kind of annoying, but whatever. Ready? With a quieter startup beep, it's not going to shake the motors as hard. And that's on 1 amp. That's not even on 2 amp, yo, on the Vi-Fly. Isn't that cool? Isn't that a cool little tip? That's one of the other reasons that I turned down the volume of the startup beeps. Because it prevents that from happening. Actually, I'll leave this on. I'm going to re-flash it to 32.8 just to make totally sure that it's on the current 32.8, because there was a version of 32.8 that was a little buggy. So we're going to kick it back on. Plug it on in. And get on into BL Heli. And make sure that we're good to go. Derpa. check. All right, so now we're connected. We're gonna go to ESC flash, 32.8, flash selected ESC. Oh, come on. All right. You actually have to go. Oh, okay, cool. It let me. I didn't realize that's what ignore meant. All right, good. So I just had to click ignore. So yeah, there you guys go. Let me get caught up on chat. Demenis says Discovery. Okay, cool. I don't think I have any streaming services with Discovery shows on them. What's it called again? Street Outlaws. Just gonna open this up so that. Oh, is it these fucking assholes? Oh God. I think I do know this show. I recognize these donkeys. I might still like it. Darkman says 8x Swiss loop on a magnifier headset type thing that goes up to 3.5x. Couldn't live without it either. Yeah, it's really important to have something to give you a little bit of magnification for sure. Razzie B says it's scary how alike our brains work. Love the top tips always. Love that, Razzie. Frank Nicholas says if you'd use the PD100 bench power supply instead of a battery straight to the quad, you can ramp up the amps until it boots for safety. You know, I actually took it out and I did hook it up, but it's over here behind the monitor. I kind of forgot about it. It's on the little. My main use for it is for the soldering iron, for the P200 or whatever the hell it is, soldering iron. Will it function as a smoke stopper though? I don't think it will, Frank. Right? Like for example, if I turn it on to 0.1 and there is a bridge, it can still blow stuff up, right? Like it's not going to do the job of the Vi-Fly, I don't think, right? But I guess I could hook it up to the Vi-Fly. Hey, we are good to go there. Yes, ESC setup. IDV says, what do you think about Edge TX and are you running it? I'm not running it. I do plan on running it because it makes the simulators work better, but I am kind of waiting to run it. Ramdunko says Hammond's Garage. I've seen the first 3 episodes. It's really good. I can't wait for more Hammond's Garage. I've been watching it on YouTube, actually. Riot9 says, if you need any shows, I can Google Drive anything you want, legally, of course. Very cool. Frank says they claim faster than the smoke stopper. Really? That's pretty cool. That is very cool. I will need to set up another camera on the left side of it. You know what? When I move next year, I'm going to have to redo... Well, no. When I get the M1 Mac Mini, I'm going to have to redo... the entire desk, and when I do that, I'll try to figure out a way to either get that power supply over here by the bench camera here, or I could try to get another camera set up, but I probably won't do that because it's already cluttered as shit in here. But yeah, I'll see if I can make a little bit of extra space over here in this area for that thing. Right now I just have none. I'm super cramped. All right, where are we at here? So we just flashed it, so we're gonna go PWM low 24, that's perfect. PWM high, we want to be 48. I'm gonna move up the beacon signal volume because that's your beeper. I want the beeper to be as loud as possible. I'm gonna move the beacon delay, that's the automatic beeper, down to 3 minutes. If the ESC gets no input for 3 minutes, it starts beeping. Brake on stop, I turn that all the way up. Motor timing, I move to automatic. And that's pretty much everything. We're going to write setup. And good to go. We are done in BLHeli 32. Let's open up Betaflight and make sure that the motors are spinning the right direction. And in the right locations, come to think of it. Mechanicurn with 50 Nokias. That's a lot of indestructible phones. He says, do you know what makes a flight controller freeze midair for a second? Thought it was a micro failsafe because the radio was about to black out, but the log has a dead spot. It could be that the flight controller is hitting 100% CPU load down here. When you're in flight, the CPU load goes higher than normal. What is Mechanicern? What is it? An F4 or an F7 flight controller? If it's an F4 flight controller, and you're running your PID loop at 8K along with RPM filtering and D-Shot 600, that's the problem. You need to go down to D-Shot 300, and you need to go down to 4K PID loop frequency, and that should fix the issue. Let's go here and check the direction. Oh, and pop the smoke stopper. Let's turn this off and then back on. Hey, man, 2 amps is like just right. All right, so yeah, the motors aren't going the right direction. Motor 1 is incorrect, 2 is correct, 3 is correct, 4 is incorrect. So 1 and 4 are wrong. So we are going to go in here to motor direction. And what? Oh, I got to go up to Betaflight 4.3. I'm not really in the mood to do that. I'm just going to fix it in BL Heli 32. What did I say? Motors 1 and 4, right? I think that's what I said. Mechanicern says F722. Wow. I would change them. I would change it down to D-Shot 300 and 4K PID loop, and just take a look. Just see if that helps. Because outside of that, I think the flight controller is just kind of blown up. Because, yeah, I mean, there's not really much that causes that to happen. Let's get BL 32 back up here. F7s are not immune to getting totally maxed out. So, yeah, it kind of depends. So that's what I would do to start the troubleshoot. If that doesn't fix the problem... What the fuck? What? All right. Thing got angry on me. Get in there. Come on. There we go. Okay. Okay, here we go. Disconnect. Oh my god. Come on, man. Oh, come on, man. Come on, man. Enough! Oh, man. Everything's angry. Let's try this again. Here we go. Connect. And check. And motors 1 and 4 need to get reversed, so we're going to go to only motor 1, go from normal to reversed, and right setup. And then we're going to go to motor 4, normal to reversed, right setup, and now we're done. Disconnect. Oh, I forgot to look and see that the locations of the motors are correct. That was kind of dumb. Hopefully they are. We're about to find out. If they're not, we're going to have to do that all over again. Okay. Nope, they're not. God damn it, Larry. And we're going to have to do this in the effing resources. So motor 1 is where motor 3 needs to be. Keeps tripping the Vifly. Motor 2 is where motor 4 is. Motor 3 is where motor 1 needs to be. Motor 4 is where motor 2 needs to be. So I'm going to do this the caveman way. Why did that just happen? That was weird. I'm going to type resource, and I'm just going to mix them all up. And inevitably, we'll get one of them correct. So motor 1, I'm going to move to C09. Motor 2, I'm going to move to A08. Motor 3, I'm going to move to A09. And then motor 4, I'm going to move to... wait, no, I'm going to use C08 for motor 4. Come on. Okay. Save that, and let's see. That probably made one of them right. And then we can come back in and get them all right. 1 is not correct. 2 is not correct. 3 is not correct. Fuck you! 4 is not correct. Okay, or not. Let's do it again. Okay. So we're going to take 1. Motor 1 is going to go to A08. Motor 2 is going to go to A09. Motor 3 is going to go to C08. Motor 4 is going to go... Oh, wait, no. Motor 4 is going to go to C09. Ah! Come on. I know this is a ridiculous way of doing it, but eat me. I've done this a million different ways. Believe it or not, doing it this way, for me, is faster than doing it the intelligent way. Motor 1 is now correct. Motor 2 is now correct. Motor 3 is now correct. Motor 4 is now correct. How you like me now, you sons of bitches? You didn't think that was a quick way of doing it, did you? Ah, it popped the smoke stopper. Come on. Ah, come on. It worked the one time. Ah! Alright, I'll do them individually. Motor 1 is spinning wrong. Motor 2 is spinning wrong. And I think it just popped the Betaflight. It did. Motor 3. It's because it fires the motor so hard. I think it's spinning it incorrectly. Are they all wrong? I think they're all wrong. Motor 4 is wrong. Yeah, motor 3 is wrong. If you just pull the motor, if you just pull them up like that, it doesn't trip the Betaflight. Every single one of them is spinning the wrong direction. So we're going to disconnect, and this is the last thing we're going to need to do, and then we can move on to the RipSqueak. Got 20 more minutes. Connect, and check, and let's reverse them all. Motor 1 fur. Whoa, what the hell was that? Whoa! BL Heli 32 got upset. That was cool. Oh, come on. What is happening here? Jackalope FPV says random, but do you have that extra wallet for sale? Jackalope, I just saw it. I don't know where the hell it is. If you want it, I'll just fucking send it to you. What am I doing here? I gotta reverse all the directions. Send me a reminder though. Email me a reminder, or not email. Message me a reminder. Email. What is this? 1902. Right setup. All right. 3 to normal. Right setup. 4 to reversed. Right setup. And now we are good to go. Should be at least. Motors. I understand the risks. Let's see. Motor 3 is correct. 4 is correct. 2 is correct. 1 is correct. Correct, rather, not correct. We're good to go, boys and girls. Cut the power so the VTX doesn't get any hotter than it already is, although it should just be on 25 milliwatts. Man, it's getting hot on 25 milliwatts, though. Video transmitter should be already set up. Yep, smart audio on till first arm. Good to go. PID tuning. Oh, these are the 2400 kV motors, so I have them down at 65% scale. PIDs look fine. Dynamic idle is on. I'm actually going to turn dynamic idle off. Now that it's a different ESC, the previous dynamic idle setting might not be correct. So I'm just going to turn it off by zeroing it out. Rate profile. These are my old rates. Let me add a little bit more expo here. Okay. Add a little bit more throttle expo while I'm at it. 0.5 is a pretty high midpoint. That's probably not right. Let's go down to 0.4. Check the filters real quick. Gyro filters are off. 0, 2, 200. Move that up to 100. Move this up to 600. Just little tweaks that I've picked up along the way. Nothing super interesting. Receiver auto factor is 20. That looks good. Modes is going to be fine. Let's make sure the OSD is the way that I want it. Yeah. All right, we good. Everything's looking good. This thing should fly. 8K, 8K, accelerometer. Yeah, I mean, this was a flying rig before. Let's erase the black box and we'll be all set. So there we go. The test rig, which is kind of a basher rig, is back. It's back. Mechanic current set. Oh, no, we got that. Frank Nicholas says P200 full manual claims less than 1 millisecond. Short circuit over current over voltage. Very cool. Very, very cool. Riot 9 says motors in 1 and 4 incorrect. JRFPV says just switched 4.3 today. Oh my god, it flies really well. It does. All I had to do was lower the filters, raise the master. Yeah, 4.3 is great. I'm just not in the mood to reset all of Betaflight. Because you guys are about to see that on the RipSqueak, so I didn't want to do it twice in a row. Plus 4.2 flies beautifully. 661 says, what's everybody's opinion on overclocking? I don't really have an opinion on it. Mechanic Current says not running 4.3, simplified interface reader. It does. It would have probably taken me less time to flash it with 4.3, reset up. No, it wouldn't have. No, it wouldn't have. But yeah, 4.3 is great. I have it on. I've been putting on everything for the last like month or so. Frank Nicholas says ViFly claims 3 milliseconds short circuit, 10 over current compared to -1. Damn, very cool. Remy Tim says I don't think motor direction can change by changing resources to remap motors because the ESC on that arm is still spinning the same motor in the same way. I think that just got proven wrong though, right? Because I think what you're saying, Daniel, is that once I reordered the resources, it should have been spinning the right direction, but they were all reversed, which is interesting. I never really thought through that. I never really thought through how that works between the resources and like where it's spinning the motor in the right or wrong direction. That's an interesting thought, though. Darkman says the first email was sent in 1974, if I remember correctly. Dan636 says, which set of UAV tech presets should I use to tune a Micro Apex? In my opinion, none of them. I really don't agree with using like other people's PID tunes or presets. In my opinion, every single rig is just, especially with a micro, there are so many opportunities for a mechanical problem. And then if you're taking a tune that's anything more than the stock Betaflight tune, that can very easily cause a flyaway the second that you arm the rig. And, you know, I'm always worried that that flyaway is going to happen like when you're standing over the rig and it like comes up into your face. So I really don't advise that anybody use anything other than stock Betaflight, and then you just tune that. It's very, very simple to tune. On my Patreon channel, I have a tech talk article, post or whatever, which like breaks down tuning into like 4 incredibly easy steps. Yeah, I mean the stock Betaflight tune flies pretty damn good, but if you're doing cinematic work, for example, and you need a little bit more of a locked-in tune, basically you're just going to add some P and D gain. You can just push your P gains up by 5 or 10 points at a time, and at some point the rig is going to start to sound dirty, or the motors are going to start to get hot, and that's when you've gone too far and you need to back it off a little bit. That's tuning. That's like 99.9% of tuning. All that being said, if you're not doing cinematic work, the stock Betaflight tune is going to give you a lot more leeway to beat the hell out of your props and your motors and your arms and your just rig in general. So, yeah, I mean, if there's not like a specific reason that you absolutely need the tune to be really aggressive, like, you know, I have a director or a producer that can't have any camera shake ever, then to be totally honest, running the stock tune is the smartest thing, because you're going to get used to the stock tune, and then you're going to be able to beat the living hell out of the rig, and that's going to save you time and money, tuning and replacing the rig. Also, it's going to teach you to fly around prop wash, throttle chop bobbles, other things like that the tuning, that being more aggressive on the tune can help with. So yeah, there's some food for thought. I'm sure that's not what anybody wants to hear, but that's the truth, you know? Like, if you really think about it, that's the truth. For most people, there's kind of no reason to have a completely dialed in tune. Like, I hate to be the bearer of bad news. Maybe that's why nobody hires me for my Fiverr tuning sessions. But I mean, that's the reality of the situation, right? So yeah, keep that in mind. Yeah, stock tune for life, yo. Not really, but yeah, tuning is very easy. You push the P gains and the D gains up 5 or 10 points at a time. Tune becomes more aggressive. Prop wash, little bobbles, stuff like that, slowly will start to go away the higher you push it. Yeah, using somebody else's tune or using presets is opening the door for a lot of potential problems. And every rig is a little bit different. And especially with micros, there's a lot of micro components that are really shitty. And shitty components will sometimes have the stock tune be like at the razor's edge. So always run the stock tune first. And then if the rig is totally well behaved, the motors are nice and cool, the rig doesn't sound weird, then you can potentially start pushing the tune up. And yeah, just push P gain, push D gain, and pretty quickly you'll get it to a place where you're happy. You know, my tunes are basically like 10 or so points over stock. Betaflight stock tune plus about 10 on P&D gain, and that's it. So if you like the way that my footage looks, you can just do that, and it's going to kind of get you pretty damn close to perfect, in my opinion. But my idea of perfect is a tune with a bunch of leeway. I don't want a tune that's on the razor's edge, because then I can't crash and fly the damn thing home, or it's not worth it. Like, once you take the stock tune and you push it a little bit, 5 points, 10 points, 15 points, there's a big chunk of performance to be gained there. But then as you continue going more and more and more aggressive than that, the amount of gains shrink drastically. So like once you get to a really aggressive razor's edge tune, it only flies a little tiny bit better than my tune, but it's way more dangerous and it's way less crashable, and there's way higher of a possibility that you bend a propeller on a rooftop that you can't get it down from, and it's got too many vibrations for you to be able to fly it off the roof, and you lose an entire rig. And that's I'm not playing that game. That's silly. Basically, if you're gonna fly a razor's edge tune, you better be goddamn sure that you never crash. Never crash. Because the second that you crash with a razor's edge tune, you're probably fucked. Best case scenario, you're taking the walk. Worst case scenario, you're getting in the car and driving home without it. And that's just silly. For, this much of an improvement in flight characteristics, that just doesn't make any sense, right? So that's my personal thoughts on it, Dan636. Riot9 says, can we see your 5-inch rates? I don't want to try them more, just want to know what you're working with to compare. I actually do think that you guys should try other people's rates, because rates are totally separate from all this that we're talking about. Rates are totally safe. My rates are Betaflight actual rates. They're very simple. Center sensitivity is as low as it'll go, which is a value of 10. Max rotational is 800. Expo is 0.8. That's it. That's my full Betaflight rates, and it's on the actual rate profile. The rotational rate of 800 is a lot. That's a high number compared to a lot of people that try to fly like I do, which is like a really smooth flight style. The trick there, the reason why I have such a high number there, is that I never do full flips or full rolls. I don't like the way they look, and I don't like the reaction that I get from people that watch my videos. Those are the, doing a full flip or a full roll, like everybody but us goes like, oh God, and I don't like that. What I do is half rolls. For whatever reason, normal people's brains can process a half roll, and I get I get the complete opposite reaction from a full roll to a half roll. When I do a half roll or a half flip, people's eyes light up and they're like, ooh, it like wakes them up, and they like love the way that it looks. Maybe because my assumption is that it's because you're flipping the world upside down rather than just taking the whole world and like, and just, like you do a full flip or a full roll, and it's like you take the whole world, you fucking pee in someone's eyeballs, and then the whole world is the same again, but they've got piss in their eyes. Don't pee in people's eyes. It's terrible. You wouldn't want your eyes to be peed in, would you? God. So yeah, the 800 degrees max rotation is like, for me, in my brain, when I jam the stick over and center it again, like all of us, our brains have like a pacing. Each one of us will, if we want to invert, we all have a very specific pacing to how quickly or how slowly we move our sticks over to the max deflection and then back to zero. And for me, my pacing is such that with a max rotational rate of 800, it lands perfectly inverted. So I don't have to adjust my brain, right? Like I don't have to adjust my flying. And this is like, when you're new, I usually don't recommend this, but like once you've flown a couple thousand batteries, is when I kind of recommend like setting your rates to the way that you're already moving your fingers. Unless you really don't like the look of it, but I do. So yeah, I just moved that max rotational rate up and down until every time that I did a stick bang, basically, it would land me perfectly inverted. So, and to test it, you just level out the horizon, you fly straight, and you stick bang, and you see what happens. You see if you over-rotated or if you under-rotated or if you nailed it perfect. And then you can change that max value and see if it helps, and change it again, see if it helps, change it again, see if it helps. And eventually, more often than not, you'll land the 180s, basically, completely flat and exactly where you want them. And yeah, there you go. That's one way to set your rates. Ramdago says, is that slider down or up? Fun filter something. Up, because I think we were talking about PIDs when you said that, Ram. Dan636 says, I'm trying to sharpen up my apex a little is all. Technically you can do that with rates, but yeah, do what I said. Push your P and your D gains up by 5 or 10 points at a time. Make sure the motors don't get hot. And that's exactly what that's going to do. It's going to make the error correction, the PID loop, attack a little bit sooner, a little bit quicker, a little bit earlier. And that typically reads as sharp. The other thing you can do if you want to be totally safe is just jack up your feed forward. If all you're looking for is sharpness, Dan, all you actually need to do is jack up your feed forward. And moving your feed forward up has no negative benefits, really. Like, it'll never cause a motor to cook. It'll never blow up an ESC. So I would actually try that first. Take your feed forward values and add a bunch to them. The stock feed forward values are in like the 100 range, I think. Add like 50 points. Add like 50 points of feed forward. You can do it in the OSD or you can do it on your desktop. And I would not be surprised if that got you the sharpness that you're looking for. I actually run zeroed out feed forward because I don't like the way that sharpness looks. Sharpness kind of accentuates any little mistake that you might make on the sticks. You know, my fingers are not like butter smooth. So I do a couple things in my tune to add a little bit of smoothing in, so that when I watch my footage back, it looks good and it doesn't look like nervous and like I'm making a million little mistakes. When I crank feed forward up, it's exactly what happens. Like my flight footage I look like a worse pilot. I look like I'm twitchy and I'm sharp and like I'm second guessing moves and like it shows every little fucking thing. That's the other problem with cranking your PID tune up, is that it makes the rig like real nervous and like it's. And, you know, it's exactly what, you know, like, that's it, right? Like, it's making the rig sharp and it's making it, like track your sticks perfectly, right? But for freestyle and for cinematic, perfect stick tracking, unless you're God's gift to transmitters, in that you've got, like, your thumbs are absolutely perfect and you never make a little, you know, mistake and you never get, like, an adrenaline dump and have, like, you know, like, a little bit nervous fingers. Yeah. So having, like, a super locked-in tune, in my opinion and in my experience, makes the flight footage look a lot worse. And that's something that I care about. I want my flight footage to look good. But again, you know, that's just me. Espander says, my tune is very angry while on the ground, and it can't sit on the ground. Sometimes starts jumping if I don't turn air mode off. Flies and crashes all right, though. Basically what that means, Espander, is that you're at the limit of what's possible with the tune. So if you back the tune off a little bit, it'll chill that out, or just deal with it. because, you know, having your tune at the edge of what's possible, it'll fly fine. If you bang up a motor or a prop, it probably, so it does mean that your tune is at the limit, is exactly what I said. It is at the limit of what's possible. Those are the 3 words that are important here. Of what's possible with that rig. What I bet you've got going on is a bent motor bell. I bet you there's a bent motor bell that's sending a bunch of vibrations into the frame, and that is limiting how hard you can go on the tune. Or maybe you've got the tune just cranked way the hell up. I don't know. But if you've got a rig that all of a sudden starts to do that shit, that's a dead giveaway. That you've started to beat the build up. The motors aren't running as clean. Maybe there's an arm that's delaminated. Maybe there's some bolts that are loose. That's something that you always want to pay attention to. If you slam a rig into concrete and it starts doing that shit, you know what's going on. If the rig just naturally, if you haven't had a big wreck and the rig starts doing that shit, you want to look for screws that are loose. Usually that's a loose screw issue, right? Because you haven't had a crash to bend a motor bell or bend a propeller or delaminate an arm. But, you know what I mean? Like, so this is where, like, there's an art to troubleshooting. And pilots that have been in the game for a long time are really good at troubleshooting because they've had these experiences. They've flown enough batteries where they've had the experience where, yeah, they don't smash into anything, but all of a sudden the rig starts acting weird, and it's like, well, what the fuck is going on here? And, you know, over the next month you start to try to figure it out, and then you get to the bottom of it, you're like, oh, okay. And then 6 months later it happens again, and you're like, oh, wait, well, what the hell? So it's one of those things that the folks that work with me one-on-one through Fiverr really enjoy. You know, they really enjoy the fact that they can get shit figured out real quick because they're one-on-oneing with a guy that has had every possible, you know, destructive measure done, and I know exactly how to troubleshoot that shit. And that, you know, I can usually ask like 2 or 3 questions and be like, all right, here's what your problem probably is. Boom, 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 boom. So Ramdanko says, how much rate change? 70 so plus XX equals felt like half speed roll plus how about vlog critique equals let's learn together. How much rate change, question mark. 70 so plus XX equals felt like half speed roll. 70 so plus XX. I can't figure out what that means, Ram. I'm sorry, brother. Tag me again. Try that one more time. I'm not picking up what you're laying down, brother. I apologize. Dan636 says, I'll just move the master up to 1.2 and the FF up the same. I would leave the master alone and move the feed forward all the way up to 1.5. I'm willing to bet that's going to get you exactly where you want. And it's going to be a little bit safer for you. If that gets you where you want, then you've got a much safer tune that's giving you the sharpness that you want. You know what I mean? Moving the master slider up, it just introduces potential for problems. And I just say that because you only said to me that you want more sharpness, right? You didn't say to me that you want better prop wash performance. If you wanted better prop wash performance, then you would need to move the master slider up a little bit. Family Guyver says, I heard if flight controller rubber cushion spacers are squished and screws are too tight, it can cause noticeable vibrations. Yeah, technically, I mean, if you compress those rubber grommets to the point where you're hard mounting the flight controller, definitely. But most people don't do that because, like, it looks ridiculous when you do that. The rubber grommets start to, like, fucking and, like, squish out. So just don't do that. Don't crank your flight controller screws down to the point where the rubber grommets look like me, and you'll be fine. Just remember, folks, make sure your rubbers don't look anything like your buddy Ciotti, and you'll be fine. Let's throw some plastic screws on this to save a little bit of weight, and this rig will be done. I guess we're not going to do the RipSqueak, although Maggie's not here yet, so I mean, I might as well stream until she gets here, and then maybe she'll grace you guys with her beautiful face and body, and then I'll shut this mother down. I gotta tell you guys, she is just beautiful. Just gorgeous. I'm a lucky motherfucker. Alright, one more here. And huzzah! Let's get it. Here is the answer. Oddly enough, these I have never had one of these M3 plastic nuts like strip out or fail. Every once in a while, I'll have one that falls off. It vibrates off because I didn't crank it down tight enough. But I've never had one like strip out or fail. You know, it feels like they wouldn't be strong enough. You know what I mean? But like, yeah, I've yet to have that happen. So it seems completely safe to run these nice little plastic M3 nuts. I think I said screws. Nuts. You gotta have metal screws. Can't run plastic screws. They will absolutely break. Gotta go metal with them screws. Alright, and on the ESC, it really doesn't matter how tight or loose you run these. If you run them a little bit tighter than you think you should, though, they'll tend to dig into the rubber grommet if your ESC has rubber grommets on it, and that'll keep them from backing off, which is kind of nice. So I'll usually tighten them down just a little bit extra. Although, you know, if you lose one of them, it's fine. It'll fly fine with 3. I should leave one of them off to save weight. That's it. We good. Get some screws going here. And we'll take a look at the RipSqueak real quick. Maybe we'll just plug it in. See what's what. Riot 9 with a 669 Australian super chat. He says, Mac! Also want to say, I wasn't trying to be rude yesterday saying bot was on. Hope I didn't come across like a dick. Was just a heads up. No, not at all, Riot. I actually really appreciated that you said that because I was not paying attention to time. And I really try to not... All of us. All of us live streamers try our best to not stream on top of each other. Which is really cool. Thank you, brother. Yeah, no, I quite the opposite. I really appreciated you saying that. Family Guyver, we got that. Espander says, I have 2 identical rigs. One is basically a beater, and the second rarely flying perfect condition. Both are the same tune, and both are angry. They just seem... they just want to fly, no time to sit around. There's definitely something going on in those rigs, Espander. Check out the Motor Heat, the Motor Heat Tech Talk article over on the Patreon page. I would go right through that because something's going on. They should not be doing that. That is a classic sign that that your PID tune is at the ragged edge of what's possible. And yeah, like I talk about all the time, like we were just talking about, I just don't think that's a great place to be. I think it's just a little sketchy for your tune to kind of be that on the limit. And yeah, I don't want to see you lose one of those rigs. And with a tune that's on the limit like that, that's when you can potentially lose a rig. Because you get it hung up somewhere and it cooks a motor when the prop is bent and then you can't get it down. So yeah, especially if you ever fly spots that are unrecoverable. If you only ever fly recoverable spots, I guess it doesn't really matter. But you're going to have to take the walk a lot more often, which is, Who the I didn't get into this hobby to get exercise, you know what I mean? Ramdanko says, went up first time with a 3-inch, tried full right turn and got a half turn, but recovered, and yaw was slow, so rates up. Got it. Yeah, move your max rotational rate up, Ram, and that, in theory, should fix that. Expander says, I don't know how to tune and just move the sliders until I like the way that it flew without hot motors. Okay, yeah. So yeah, if you're pushing the sliders up until, yeah, that's the exact situation. You've got the tune. You know, most people would call what you've got there a properly tuned rig. For me, I like a little bit more leeway. So for me, that's a little bit of an over-tuned rig. But yeah, if you don't fly unrecoverable spots, then you're good to go. You can fly that thing all day. Just be careful when you start to bang it up. Like, don't fly it home on bent up props because you're at the limit. You know, you've got a race car in the red, as they say in Pulp Fiction. And you know, some people like race cars in the red. I'm too rough on race cars to have them in the red. I need my race car to be in the yellow or in the green. So, yeah, like, you guys, if you guys ever have like a really hard crash and you arm the quad on the, and everything looks fine, and you arm it on the ground and it's all angry, you've got a bent motor bell or a bent propeller, but usually you'll see a bent propeller. That's a dead giveaway when it's angry on the ground. Because what's happened is, you know, when it's in the air, when it's up in the air, it can just move freely. When it's on the ground, if there's a little bit of a vibration, that vibration can like kind of feed back into the system and make it bounce, and then that spikes, and then it bounces again, and that spikes. You know, that's what you're seeing happen there, is the system, the full quad, is like kind of overactive in a weird way. Especially if that's happening like when you put it on the concrete, but not when you put it down on the grass, right? These are all the little things that you learn over forever. Expander says they come home with missing blades. Yeah, right. So if like my tuning approach will allow you to fly home with missing blades. Going more aggressive than my tuning approach, you can fly half the way home with a missing blade, but then one of your motors is going to catch on fire and it's going to be a bad day. So, there we have it. Test rig, ready to go to its death. Some more. We're going to put it on the wall, friends. Wait, no. I got to give you guys the satisfaction of full screen wall hanging. Oh, that feels good. That feels good. I keep forgetting to turn the goddamn Christmas lights on. What kind of a live streamer am I? Not a good one, that's for sure. Hi-oh! Oh, come on. Stop it. Get out of there. Stop that. That's fine. Alright. What's up with this RipSqueak? What's going on with it? Ramdango says drone dogs will be the new breed, like gun dogs and all. What does that mean? Oh, the drone dogs, like in Battlefield 2042, right? Expander says they. Mechanic Current says edgy tune is like going fast in the Nordschleifer. It's exciting, but you mess up and get punished hard. Yeah, it's true. What's the deal with this little shitbird? Do I just need to do the Betaflight tune? Is that all I'm missing here? I think so. I'm just gonna pull that up. Hey, what did we talk about? I'm gonna change the description. What did we No. Let's jump in. Let's dive in. Let's dive into Betaflight. I think I already did. I think I already set this thing up though. I have a weird feeling that there's going to be nothing here for us to do. But let's take a quick look. Maybe there is. Maybe I didn't. Oh, I definitely didn't because it's on firmware 4.1.6. Fan-fucking-tastic. So, here we go. Fresh Betaflight setup. Here's how you put Betaflight 4.3 on your rig. And I'm going to change the name of the stream here. Betaflight 4.3 setup and tips. Look at that. Okay. So, this is loading, which usually means that I'm going to have to hold the DFU button. Yeah, this has been long enough. So, if you ever go... Let me show you. If you've ever got a fresh flight controller, come in here to Betaflight, and you click the update firmware button, and these sit here on loading forever, you need to hold the DFU button. So at this point, what you do is you unplug the quad. At this point, I unplug it from the computer. Yeah, we can try that. We can try it in the CLI. Let's try it in the CLI. That's a much slicker way of doing it. So we're gonna go, what is it, BL, I think? Yeah, so BL for bootloader. Oh, shit. I just went into the CLI and I typed in BL, and right up here, it worked. It put it into DFU mode. I have not had that work in a long time. So now you can go to update firmware, and in theory, this will pop up. But in actuality, it's just giving me a big middle finger. Hey, that was weird. So we're gonna go to, I don't think it's a release candidate yet. Oh, I can't do the auto detect. So, all right, I didn't see what the target was. So we need to connect in order to see what the target is. So, oh, for fuck's sake, it's stuck in DFU. Hold on. Oh, it's still in bootloader mode. It's not going to want to connect. So we need to unplug the, we need to get power down the flight controller and power the flight controller back up to get it out of the DFU mode. Okay, so now we need to go here and we need to take note of what the target is. HBro Kakute Mini V3. So Kakute F7 Mini V3. That's what we need to remember. Kakute F7 Mini V3. And now we're going to go to update firmware. It's probably not going to work, but let's see. Maybe it will. Yeah, there it goes. Kakute Mini V3. There it is. So we've got that. Oh, the auto detect is not grayed out anymore. That's nice. So we can just do the auto detect button, and it'll pick that for us. It was grayed out a minute ago. That was weird. So I've got this on release and release candidate, but I don't think 4.3 is in release candidate yet. No, it's not. So we actually have to go to development. And then now we're going to get the option for 4.3. Full chip erase is on. Load firmware online. Flash firmware. Now this only happens when you're putting development software on. Or firmware on, rather. Failed to open serial port. Well, fuck you too. Try one more time. There it goes. It needed that, it got itself into DFU mode on that first one. And then it just got hung up there. So there you go. 4.3 is being flashed on here. The chat is absolutely on fire. Let's see what you guys are talking about. Athix got his Sharkbite rig running better video off an actual antenna and not a dipole. Had to get some 6-inch UFL jumpers to SMA. That's annoying, but whatever you got to do. Good to know. I mean, it makes sense that shark bite would be the same as analog, in that a CP antenna is going to work a lot better than a dipole. Right, that says, yeah, just Betaflash tune/settings, good to go. Ramdango says they collect fallen drones, dogs. Ooh, that'd be nice. That's what I'm talking about. Cody says, just finished a build. Test hovering it, throttle blip, rolled out of the air. Tried it on the ground, and it flipped. It hovers fine. Air mode is on. Sounds like what you got to figure out, Cody, is if it's falling out of the air when you blip the throttle in the same direction every time. If every time you blip the throttle it drops the right front, for example, you know that the right front motor or the right front ESC channel are jacked up. So what I'll usually do is get in the goggles, get it to fall out of the air a couple times, and then review that footage. And in the footage, you'll be able to see, like, it's obvious. If it's the right front, you'll be able to tell the way that it dumps, or left front, or right rear, or left rear. And then what you do is you take the motor. If it's the right front, for example, you take that motor and you switch it with any of the other motors, and you see if the problem chases. If the problem chases, you know it's a bad motor. If the problem stays on that same right front corner, in this example, it's the ESC. You need a new ESC. But yeah, typically on a throttle blip, if it falls out of the air, or it could be browning out the flight controller, but then you'll know because the flight controller will reset. So there's a lot of things that could be happening there. Right, we got that. Spender says, I honestly don't know how they're surviving, but I like how they fly. Can't be bothered to mess with the tune. I just have air mode on a switch and it calms it down. Yeah, I've done the same thing. 661 says, I heard with 4.3 it can put it into DFU automatically. We just got to see that. That was pretty slick. 661 says, setup tab. Is there really? Oh, there is. That's right. There's a DFU mode button at the bottom. It's in DFU mode now, so it says exit. But if it's not in DFU mode, there is a button here to put it into DFU. DFU mode. That's pretty slick. 4.3 is now flashed on this little bastard. We're going to calibrate the accelerometer. Look, there's an option to calibrate the magnetometer. That's pretty cool. Okay, ports. I did not pay attention to where I put anything. That was stupid. Maybe I can see it though. All the ports are on the corners. Okay, so that's 6. So UART6 has the receiver, and then Smart Audio is on. What's that say? Smart Audio is on. Come on. Is that a 1? Say T1? I think it says T1. Smart Audio, I think, is on UART 1. And I think they use the TRAP protocol. What? Why is there not a UART 6? Am I blind? No, that says R6. What? Fuck. Where's UART 6 at? Bueller? What? Hold on. I think they gave me a little wiring diagram. Print out. No, they didn't. Kakute, what was it? F11 billion? What the fuck? Hold on. Kakute F7 billion. Let's see what that finds. That's the one. Wiring. Take a super quick look. I just heard the door open, which means my favorite person is here. So I'm gonna shut this fucker down in a minute, but before I do that, let's take a really quick look here and see if we can get to the bottom of this. R6, yeah, R6. What? Why? Why no? What? What? Why? What? Why? What the hell? Bueller? We've got a problem. Where the hell is UART6? Let me, I can do a search for the number 6. Let's see what we find. Yeah, it's a good call, Remy Tim. Sounds like an issue caused by flashing the wrong target. I did the auto target thing though. Let's see. Update firmware. Oh, you know what it could be? It could be a problem with the with this target, the development version of this target. Watch this. This is the last thing we're gonna do here, and I'm gonna shut this down. So we're gonna go to a regular release, a 4.2 release, and we're gonna flash that, and I bet you we'll have UART6. All right. So this is the problem with flashing development firmware, is that it's you know, there's the potential for fuckery. It's what is it getting angry at? Why are you doing this to me? Let me manually put it into DFU. Ooh, everything is acting a little weird. Yeah, I think this development target is fucked. Cause there's a bunch of weird shit going on. Like, look at this. 29 kilobytes? That doesn't make any sense. I think this target is borked. It also doesn't seem to want me to go into DFU mode. Let's pull power and see what's up. Let's also get out of Betaflight real quick. Interesting. Wow, Betaflight went right back into... What? What is happening here? Oh wow, there's something going on. Connected board is unknown. While you select it. Yeah, I mean, I know this is the right board. We're gonna continue. Might have bricked it, maybe. Ooh, it's acting weird. It's acting weird. Hello. We got to roll? Yeah. Okay. Last time I'm gonna try it, and then we are out of here. So let's go to update firmware and auto detect. Can't verify the board yet. It's angry. It is angry with me. Read protection. Hey, there it goes. There it goes. There it goes. Okay. Yeah, I think that this. So basically what I think is going on is when they get to the final release, one of the things that they're saying with the final release is that, hey, all these a billion different targets are all accurate. They've all been checked. They're all good to go. When it's still in development, they don't like immediately take the time to go through every single target and make all the changes and troubleshoot everything. So I think they basically just haven't gotten to this Kakute F7 Mini V3 target yet to troubleshoot it and get it, and get it fully working. So now that I'm on 4.2, it just programmed 4.2 in there. We're gonna apply custom defaults, and I bet you I've got UART 6 now. Calibrate the accelerometer since we're here, and there we go, UART 6. And here's what's interesting: there is no UART 5. A minute ago there was UART 5, so that could also be it. Maybe in the development release they fucked that number up, or they haven't changed the number. Something, you guys know what I'm saying. Something's going on. Thanks for hanging out, lovely people. I love every last one of you so hard that it actually hurts me. Here comes some flying and some music. I hope you enjoy it, and a sneak peek of my favorite person.
Okay.
Be good, friends. I'll see you tomorrow night at 10 o'clock. You're all beautiful, but not as beautiful as her. Damn, I got a real one there. All right, friends. Love ya. Be good. Later. Oh, listen to this sexy shit.